So hello everyone, I'm Tofu and today we're on Tanglewood, and as you may have seen by the thumbnail, we're going to be redesigning a few of the villager homes. So there's been a bit of a kerfuffle regarding recording recently. I am actually in the middle of a species roulette villager hunt on Jailtown, my crime island, and that's actually going on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. So in order to make sure that a video was out on Friday for you guys, I had this queued up and I actually recorded all of this last night. However, my recording software, OBS, failed and I lost all the footage. So I'm having to redo it all. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to invite my villagers onto Happy Home Paradise, and then you can see the entirety of the build and I can show you the before and after shots which I happen to take. And yeah, it's all good. So I'll see you on the island. Come to a tropical island via the invitation of chocolates. So I wanted to make sure that Deirdre's house got redesigned first. She has been on the island for the longest time. She was in fact one of my starters along with Tiansheng, who has moved on, but she stayed on the island for the entire time, like I said. So it only felt natural that I did her house up properly because she did have one of these starter homes and it was just very plain, very boring. It needed a touch up. So much like many of the other homes, I've tried to make it incorporating part of the world. So I've got the jungle like wall really open out there, so she's got the view into the jungle. As far as Deirdre is concerned, obviously she is very kind of associated with fall and the various colours that comes with that. So I've used a lot of natural tones. There's the odd splash of yellow, green, red, things like that. Again, just kind of giving that almost fall or autumn-like feeling. I also wanted to talk about the recording issue I had, just because that was a big problem for me last night. So I recorded this, I did the entirety of the house builds as I mentioned previously. I couldn't sleep, so I thought, I'll do something that's actually productive, and so I ended up doing this. And then my OBS just stopped working, it locked up, and the only way to basically get out of it was to X out the program, which meant that I lost the entirety of the build I did. And I was just shocked to my core, to be honest, because I didn't lose a lot of footage. It was like an hour's worth of recording, which in hindsight isn't that big of a deal, but I was tired, it was late, and just the shock of it happening meant that my brain froze and I couldn't think of a solution to get around it. And you may be thinking to yourself, so what's the big deal? You've lost like an hour's kind of recording, just, skip forward a day or two. You can then talk to Isabel, get all the houses sorted, like back to their original states, and then you can just rebuild it. And that would have been the easy option. However, I do actually have someone who's queued up to go, so I've got a villager hunt ready to go on Tanglewood. So if I had skipped forward a day or two to then redesign these houses, it would have meant that that person was gone, and then the chance to get my villager hunt would be gone as well, and I would have had a character autofill, and it just would have been a complete pain to then have to skip forward all the days in the hopes that I could then try and move that particular autofill out. But luckily, my wife, when she found out what happened in the morning, because she's obviously clever and I'm stupid, she gave me the option of doing this and suggested that I do it in Happy Home Paradise. And it never occurred to me, and so I just want to say a massive thank you to Mumsy Word. After you watch this video, go check out our channel and say that Tofu sent you, and yeah, subscribe and make sure that she gets the love she deserves. Back onto the build though, I wanted to make sure it was a very simple design as far as Deirdre is concerned. So she's got the small kitchenette, the sloppy sink, so she'll get round to cleaning the dishes and things later, a nice sofa with a book, and then a TV space. It's a real good place to chill out, I added 2 little gyroids. I didn't add any music into this build, but I thought the gyroids just give it a little bit of movement, a little bit of sound. Like I said, I wanted everything to be very kind of wood tones and quite natural for Deirdre. I thought it suited her character very well. I actually feel like I kept the plants to a minimum in this build as well. I have a tendency to put way too many plants in my builds, but I suppose the accent wall being an open kind of jungle feel definitely helped me kind of curb that. It already feels like there's a lot of green and a lot of plant life there, even though it's just a wallpaper. So we move on to Bree. I'd actually done Bree's house on Happy Home Paradise previously, which is why I just showed off the garden a little bit, just to show that I'd actually done it previously, and I then went back into it, completely stripped the insides, the interior, and made it plain so that I can then rebuild how it would be on Tanglewood. And she is the newest villager to have arrived on the island, and so I haven't really built her into the lore as of yet. I'm just mostly going with what she looks like and what I know from her Wikipedia or Animal Crossing fandom pages. So she likes things clean, she's a snooty girl, so I imagine she likes things quite elegant, quite fancy, and so that's kind of the premise I've gone with. So there's a lot of elegant furniture, there's a lot of marble pillars and things like that. It's very fancy for a very fancy lady. Naturally, as Bree's fur is white, I've gone with a lot of white, and then obviously her hair being green, I've gone with a lot of green, or this kind of pale blue accent for the majority of the room, to be honest, and I think it works. I definitely struggled with finding certain items of furniture in this particular build compared to the other two. I don't know why, maybe it's just being the middle home that I really struggled, and yeah, I had to cut out a big portion of just flicking through the menu trying to look for a very particular item. The bookcase in particular was an absolute nightmare to find. I did find it in the end, but yeah, I saved you guys like a good minute of me flicking through that menu. I definitely go item blind for some reason when I'm doing these kind of things, and I don't know why. Here I decided to add some curtains, like a curtain partition and another marble pillar, and just make it feel like the bedroom is its own little space, even though it's all incorporated obviously into the one room. But yeah, it felt like it's a little more private, and like I said, it just kind of closes off that space, almost creates its own bedroom within its own room, you know? As she is a classy and fancy girl, I decided to add a chair and a few books next to the bookcase, so that's her own little reading spot. She obviously has her elegant sofa in front of the table, which I add a music box, and also another plant, because like I said, I can't help myself when it comes to plants. As far as the dresser, I do end up adding a elegant lamp and a little makeup pouch. I forget what the official name for it is. Probably just makeup bag, to be honest. But I thought that quite suited Bree. To be honest, I think it suits any snooty character, especially with the fact that she's got a mirror there, so it's like, obviously she's got the dresser and she's got the makeup next to the full-size mirror, so she can really make sure she looks good before she heads out. This This is me starting to add a few finishing touches, so I'm adding the various wall decorations. So I added some floral swag along with a couple of paintings and just framed pictures, things like that. Trying to really give that impression that she is a fancy lady. For some reason, this is where I really struggle with trying to find Bree's photo, even though I know it's in alphabetical order. So I went past it very easily, and then it took me an age to find it. I get rid of the windows because I wanted to add a particular item onto the wall in between the curtain partition and the bookcase. And I went with the gold HHA plaque. Made it seem like she's really scored highly, and she's quite proud of it, to be honest. I then added a chandelier, added a couple of draperies at the end. Not gonna lie, when it came to the actual build that I did previously, I forgot the draperies, and they will be added into the build eventually when I get around to it. Here we move on to Quinn, and much like Bree, she's pretty new onto the island, so I haven't incorporated her into any lore as of yet. So I'm mostly just going with various colour schemes and the fact that I think she looks cool. So it's mostly going to be black and purples as is her design, but again, much like many of the other builds I've done regarding the home interiors for the villagers, I've had an open wall with the accent wall kind of almost being like it's an open wall to the jungle. So you can see into the woods, you can see the trees, things like that. It feels like the houses are a little bit more part of the world when you do something like that, in my opinion anyway. I don't tend to use the diner sofas, and so I thought this was a good chance because I thought it really fit with the cool furniture, so the cool table. Then added a guitar, and I'm looking for a fusible table, which took me a little while, but I got there eventually. So when it comes to decorating the interiors of the homes on Tanglewood, a favourite thing of mine to do is naturally put a partition wall, put a couple of pillars, make it seem like there is an open space, and then the screens or screen items, so the tension pole racks or the medium or small wood partitions, I think make a fantastic wall, which still allow you to see through them as well. And then the small wooden partition, which almost looks like a fence. So maybe a door as well. It could be like a gate, so that's almost her gateway into the jungle. I thought a kitchenette, I think it's called the system kitchen, but I forget what it's officially called. I'm pretty bad with that. I thought that fit in the space where the partition wall was, and it didn't take up too much room. I then start dotting various miscellaneous items around, so I put the laptop on the wooden partition, the switch, the speaker and the coffee I thought really fit nicely, so I added the kettle onto the kitchenette. I then move on to the hanging wall items, so I thought it would make sense that she would have a load of signed autographs, especially when it comes to musicians, so that's why I've placed it immediately above the guitar. The framed photo or poster I just thought really fit nicely. The black and white really goes well with this build. I've added a couple of the spot wall lights, and then a clock was just added basically to add a splash of colour. So now I'm just doing the last little bit of touches. So the ceiling decor, again, one of my favourite items, the hanging shelves just above the kitchenette, just takes up the vertical room without losing any space or making it look weird, and a simple lamp pendant in the end, in the middle. So guys, there's my 3 island homes recreated in Happy Home Paradise so you could see my building process. If you like my designs, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and if you have a preference, which one was it? But I want to say thank you very much for watching if you made it this far into the video. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one, which will be the Species Roulette Villager Hunt on Jailtown, my crime island. I've also got another little video in the works, something a little bit different, so look forward to that. But for now, I'll say thank you very much, see you the next time, and have a good one. Cheers guys!